Hey guys, it's Morgan. I'm back with another video and I just want to apologize for my appearance. I look really disheveled, but I just kind of like to get my thoughts in real time. So I've been thinking about a lot of stuff and I just wanted to come on here and film it while it's fresh and it's relevant and it's in my mind. So this video is going to be about starting my fitness journey and all the thoughts I have going around that for two reasons. Number one, because it will document where I am now, and I like looking back and seeing my progress, just my change in thoughts, my like emotional and mental growth through this journey. So this documents it for me, but also because I truly feel like this could possibly help a lot of people. Now, sometimes it's not really that easy for me to express verbally things that I come to understand, and I think that can be really challenging, but I'm gonna try and my best to do that right now. So if you've seen any of my other videos, or maybe not, I don't know, you would know that I always struggled with weight, had lost weight naturally, just like doing things many times, felt basically like my entire life I was on a diet or some kind of workout or some kind of like nutrition plan. And then eventually about a year, a little under a year and a half ago, like a year and 4 months ago or so, I decided to get weight loss surgery. I got the sleeve, and then I proceeded to lose about 132 to 137 pounds so far. And honestly, I guess I'm kind of like calling this like part 2 of my journey, whereas that whole entire first year and a few months, about a year and 4 months or so, I didn't really have a workout regimen or routine. It didn't take working out as seriously as I am starting to now. Now, with that being said, I did go on a lot of walks. I did do a few things. Like, it wasn't like I was inactive. I'm very active. I'm very like energetic and go. I don't lay around by any means. So I was going to the park with the dogs at one point. It was before summer, quite a bit, like throughout like spring and end of winter. And then like the whole COVID thing and the park shut down. So I do get in the pool a lot and stuff. But as of, I think, the beginning of July, which has been about a month, maybe almost a month or so of working out with a trainer. Now, I want to say a few things because I think it's just really important. One thing about me is that I am not one of those people who just loves to work out and like it's so easy to implement a workout routine into my life. It's a big lifestyle change for me. I am very resistant to that change. Also, another thing too is like a month or so before getting this trainer, I bought a spin bike. It's a pretty good one. Went to Alabama to get it. It's the same one they have at LA Fitness in the spin bike classes because I love spinning. So I have the Peloton app and I kind of started there doing a few spin classes. Honestly, I'm not using it as much as I thought I would or that I want to, but it is a work in progress and I'm getting there and I'm making improvements. And the reason why I'm, like I said, doing this is for two reasons, doing this video for two reasons. One is because I want to really capture like where I am right now, not just physically, but mentally in this journey, because for whatever reason, I feel that this is like the beginning of a new reality or a new lifestyle for me. Like, I truly, firmly can feel that change occurring right now in these last few weeks. And so I want to document it, but also at the end of the day, the thing is that I really honestly feel like my condition or situation and everything that's going on in this phase, like implementing workouts, like trying to keep going in the journey, having success with the surgery, but wanting to keep going. Or even if you've never had surgery and you're just thinking about it, or maybe you're not thinking about it at all, you're just watching this, but maybe, like, I mean, probably like 9 times out of 10, like you might be like me, and working out does not come effortlessly to you. Like, just getting yourself to do it is a challenge. So I really feel like maybe some of this insight can help you. And I guess I'll start with saying this. I really honestly think that one thing I have truly learned, I've learned so many things through this process that I never would have been able to learn had it not been for very extreme weight loss. And I couldn't have achieved that weight loss without weight loss surgery. And I feel like I've learned so much. For example, I feel like I finally learned like why I was so fat. I feel like I finally learned how to actually lose weight with or without the surgery, or whether or not I could do it with or without the surgery. And also, I'm learning a lot about me, how I operate, and how to overcome my own self, because myself stands in the way of all of the success or goals I'm trying to meet. Like, really truly, it's me in my own way. And I don't mean that in a bad way against myself. Like, it's not necessarily intentional, and it's not like, oh, I have some major messed up flawed issue. I'm learning a lot about, I'm learning to trust myself. I'm not sure if any of this is making sense, but I'm going to try to get there. So it's just a lot going through my head right now, and I'm trying to like bring it out in a way that's understandable. So I may or may not have kind of addressed this before. One of the most major things that this all kind of boils down to is learning to trust yourself. And what I mean by that is that everything I'm about to say is about myself, but I know, like, no, in my heart, that a lot of people, or almost everyone watching this, it's a situation that a lot of people deal with. Like, I know it to be true. So, having been a person who was a bigger person my entire life, having struggled with that condition my entire life, having tried to overcome it for my entire life, every effort I made throughout my life, all those things, I basically can kind of sum that up into, I was very converted. My brain was like converted into this diet culture mentality in a lot of ways. And I don't like diet culture. I don't like diets. Now that I've lost a lot of weight, I now can see how dieting made me fat. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it very much made me fatter a little bit year by year by year, and contributed to a lot of overeating, a lot of binging. And if you haven't had surgery and you are still overweight, and you probably need to look into like self-love and anti-diet culture, because I feel like intuitive eating is where it is. And my point that I'm getting at is that the number one most harmful thing that I had absorbed and was living and doing and breathing, and the way I was existing, was that I had learned, because of diet culture, specifically diet culture, I did not know how to trust my body at all. And I didn't recognize that at all until having lost weight and after having gone through surgery. And honestly, it didn't take much longer after surgery for me to recognize this. And I'm gonna be a little more specific. Specifically, what I'm talking about is that I was very, 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 very confused about hunger cues. And all this will eventually, I'll get into the workout thing. But I was very, very, very confused about hunger cues. The reason why is because I was continually told through media, books, diet programs, Biggest Loser, everything related to weight loss always told me, and I can find at least 100 quotes on Pinterest that say the same thing. It all said that you're not hungry, you're just bored. That's one of the ways they put it. Do you know the difference between hunger and emotional hunger? All these different ways of phrasing this same construct, which was don't trust your body telling you you're hungry, you're not. And it fucked my shit up. Like, I didn't even realize how fucked up it was, or how fucked up my inability to recognize my own hunger, until I started losing weight. Until it didn't take long after surgery for me to recognize, what the fuck, I'm actually hungry. I've been hungry this whole time. You mean I wasn't crazy? You mean I wasn't, like, basically media and diet culture had told me that there was something wrong with me mentally, and that I was confused, and that I shouldn't trust my body, and I shouldn't trust my mind, and that I was overweight because I was eating when I was not hungry. And it was a freaking lie, 100%. And it kind of pisses me off a little bit. Like, it's bogus. Like, I so much believe that, because I couldn't understand my own eating habits. I didn't understand why I was so hungry. I didn't understand why I could be so successful in every single aspect of my life, except for this giant mountain, which was my body weight, which I could not overcome. And it was a constant nagging thought. It was a constant reminder of my own failings. Like, why, if you're so smart, and if you're so capable, and if you're so competent, why can't you do this? Like, it just baffled me, and it was so demoralizing, and it was just so, it was just such a constant thing. And it just got me into this, like, battling myself kind of thing. And it was so wrong of me to do to myself. And it was so wrong in so many ways. And this was probably the number one thing that I recognized after weight loss surgery, which was, I would get hungry. I would say, okay, I'm hungry. I was getting the cues for hunger, and okay, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. And the thing is, like, right after surgery, I wasn't hungry. I didn't have, for like 2 weeks, I really didn't have an appetite. I did do what the doctor recommended eating. I did do the broths and the waters and all the things, the Gatorades, whatever, liquids, clear liquids. And I wasn't really hungry. So as those cues started coming back, I felt comfortable eating. And it was the first time that I ever, in a long time, that I ever got hunger cues and didn't question my own hunger cues, my own mind, my own body telling me I was hungry, because I finally had, given the circumstances of having not eaten for 2 weeks, I gave myself permission to eat. I was following this doctor recommended, like, after the 2 weeks, you start slowly eating, purees. So for the first time in life, I had permission to eat. I know that sounds crazy, but my whole life I was not given permission to eat. I know that sounds crazy, but think about it. It's real. Like, it's really, really true. And it's just like, not only did I feel like people were looking at me like, bitch, why are you eating? You weigh 300 pounds. I looked at myself like, why are you hungry again? Like, I was my own worst critic. Like, why are you hungry? You're hungry again? No. And literally, like media, when I say media, I mean it very generally. I mean, every TV show I watched about weight loss, every book I read about weight loss, and I have a library full of books, guys. A lot of social media posts, Pinterest motivation, very well-meaning weight loss programs had taught me to actually stop and think and resist and restrict, question, are you actually hungry? And I am like 98.7% sure that 90% at least of every single hunger cue I had my entire life was actual hunger. And maybe 5-10% at tops was ever emotional eating. Like ever. And I know this sounds crazy because I was giant, or not giant, but you know, I'm not trying to be mean to myself or be mean to anybody. I'm not trying to fat shame anybody. I'm not with that. But as big as I was allowed to be hungry. I was allowed to eat, and I didn't really know that, but I was. And I guess I had absorbed a lot of messages, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. And I'm pretty sure there's probably a lot of people watching this, or a few, because not a lot of people watch my videos, who maybe can't relate to me, or maybe they kind of can, and maybe they don't agree and they still think that way that I did. Like, it's deep, I know. It's deep, but this is the way my mind works. I have to break things down to a very like micro level to really understand it. And like, this is what changing your mind looks like. This is what changing beliefs looks like in real time. So this is kind of what's going on. So I learned all that about my food and my eating and my hunger cues, and I realized how messed up they really were after surgery. So after surgery, I'd get a hunger cue. Okay, I'm hungry. I actually have permission to eat. Like, I haven't eaten in weeks. Like, let's eat something. And I knew what I was eating was not going to contribute to obesity because it was a very small amount. I knew I was on the right track. So I felt very comfortable in nourishing my body for the first time in my freaking life. So I would eat a small amount, and then I would feel satisfied. And I was like, wow, I ate a small amount. I feel satisfied. Okay, cool. And it was very rewarding. I don't know if that's the right word, but it felt like I was proud of myself, maybe is the right way to word it. But I felt like, okay, cool. I felt like in control. Like, okay, cool. My body is hungry. I ate a little bit, feel satisfied. No guilt. None. Like, no guilt. Like, wow, this is what it feels like. And I actually would reference it like thinking of like my mom, because she was always skinny while I was, you know, her kid who was giant. But she would feel hunger. She'd eat a small amount of food on a plate. I would always look at her like, what in the heck? How can she only eat that much food? Like, I would starve. Like, I was like a 10-year-old kid. Like, how in the heck can she not eat this whole pan of brownies? Because I'm about to freaking kill them and eat the whole pan, you know? Like, I couldn't not eat. And so many media things like to point the fingers and say, well, you have a problem. Like, you have a problem. Like, it's mental. Like, it's this, that. It's not. It was very much physical for me, and I had to lose the weight to see that. So now when I get hungry, I can recognize my hunger. Have I ever gotten like an urge to eat just because I felt like really, really tired or uncomfortable or unnerved or something like that? Yeah, but it's not very common for me. It's usually pretty mild and rare, and I can be like, but you're not hungry. You're just really tired. Like, I can sense those things now that I couldn't before. I very much can very quickly learn to understand the difference between a hunger cue and wanting just a little bit of comfort. And yeah, I did that, but it was not majority of the time. Majority of the time it was actual hunger. And I had to listen to my body. And to this day, I still have a little bit of an issue recognizing it until it's really loud, because it was really loud my whole life. Like eat the sugar. Like it was very intense my whole life. So whenever I tried to diet, it was very hard and it took so much willpower. And what I would like to say to all the big girls watching this who struggle with their weight or struggle their whole entire life with losing weight, and the thing is you get told over and over and over that the problem is you, the problem is your willpower. I'm letting you know that I now know for a fact that the amount of willpower that I had and utilized was far in excess of what any single solitary skinnier person ever has to like exude. The amount of willpower, I think it's way different. It's hard to understand it, but now being at like 200 teens, like 215, 219, whatever I am today, the amount of willpower I have to expend to not eat the fill in the blank, you know, cupcake, whatever you want to put in there, you know, like gummy bears, candy, ice cream, whatever it is, the amount of willpower I have to utilize to be like, yeah, I'm good, I'm gonna choose the apple, is a fraction of the extraordinary, like massive amount of mind focus and intense intention that I had to will to say no for months and months and months when I was bigger. So if you are a big girl and you can relate to this, I'm telling you, if you haven't lost your weight yet, there's nothing wrong with you. Like seriously, I'm telling you, you're way stronger than all the other people out there who have never faced like levels of obesity. You're right. Like it looks easy for them because it is. It's not easy, but it takes less intention. It's a lot more chill. It's just so much easier to say no to the things. And I really just think it has to do with all the things. Does any of this make sense? It's so hard to articulate this for me. But not listening to your body, it doesn't just happen with eating. It happens with everything. And for me, working out is not something that it's not easy for me to adopt a workout thing, like a workout plan, a workout regimen. Like my body, like not me intrinsically who I am, like not afraid of hard work, I want to do it, but this comfort zone, like something, this like psyche about myself, like it just is very resistant. And I had to learn through trial and error that I am so resistant to it that I basically have to like force myself. And so one thing I want to say is this: I don't think that I'm the exception in any of these things. Like I really honestly, it's a weird like two-ended, like two-sided thing. Like on one hand, we are all so uniquely ourselves and uniquely different, and our experience is different, our perspective is different. We're all different creatures, and that should be celebrated. But on a very, like on the same side, on the opposite side of the same page, we are all human, and we are all so biologically like similar in so many ways. It's like we're all so different, but we're all so similar. I know that sounds like, you know, a total like nonsensical thing to say, but it's true. Like we are as equally similar as we are as equally different. Does that make sense? Like we are as similar as we are different. Like those things can coexist, even though they sound like they're totally opposite. They're actually, I think they exist. Like we're so unique, but at the same time, we're so freaking similar. And so I do not believe that I am an exception to any rule. If I was the exception, majority of people would be very fit, because we all logically know that being fit is healthy and working out is healthy. And these are the things we should do. But our, whatever it is, our animal brain, our mammal brain, our whatever part of our being, our genetic makeup, our biology, some part of us is resistant to work, resistant to change. And it's very, very powerful. I think it's almost more powerful. It's definitely more powerful for me. My animal brain always kind of wins, and my intelligent brain is literally always trying to find ways to outsmart this brain. So that's basically where I am. So I think a lot of people can relate to this. Like, you watch YouTube, you watch Instagram, you see people working out, and you're just like, how do I get started? That's like the hardest part. Like, how do you do it? And so, you know, I've tried all the things. I've committed to it, and I've said I'm going to do it, and I plan it, and I write it in my calendar, and I buy the workout bike, and still, with the freaking thing sitting in my living room, it's just like, I don't really want to do it. And I just really think that's my animal brain. And so I think that for me, it really came down to, what it really came down to was a personal trainer. And the reason why I have a personal trainer, I can find the same workouts online, and I can find how to do things, and I can educate myself about how to train my body. The thing is that I am incapable of forcing myself to endure the pain of working out. Now, working out looks easy. My videos look really easy, but I'm telling you, when you're in the midst of doing workouts as simple as they look, because they always look so simple on TV, as simple as they look, they are so painful. They suck. It is intense. It is, every fiber of my being, of my animal brain, is telling me, stop, you're hurting me, stop. Like, literally, that's what my brain and my body is saying. Like, we're dying, stop. Like, it's yelling at me, and not actually yelling. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, you know, but I can sense, like, my brain wants me to, like, every part of my body is telling me, just sit down, enough, you're stressing us out, no. And that's why I pay a trainer. The trainer is basically like, by spending money, I'm committing to it. I have to go, because I'm not going to spend $300-400 and not go. So it forces me to do it. And when I'm midway through a workout, I know myself, and I know I would not keep going. I know myself, I would not keep going. And I know a lot of people can't really afford a trainer. Like, I really don't like spending money on a trainer. It just sucks, because it's kind of like an oil change. It's like, yeah, it just sucks. It's like, you know, like paying rent. Like, who wants to do that? But it's the best thing I ever did. And it's just one of those things, like paying for insurance, like, you never really see it. But I just know how necessary and essential it is for me to do this for myself. And I can feel the shift. Like, I can feel the shift. Like, working out is like, being successful at that and doing it, it just gives me some kind of like confidence, where I feel like I can do hard things. And one other thing that I've done this last 3 weeks or so, took a few tries, but I actually stopped drinking coffee with sweetener in it. Like, I know that sounds really stupid, but for me that was really hard. Like, super hooked on it. And another thing too is that I'm a former smoker who picked up smoking during COVID, and right now I'm gonna quit smoking. Probably tomorrow, because I tried half today and then I failed. But the thing is this, the point I'm getting at is this. As long as you never say to yourself, fuck it, I accept whatever, this is my best. As long as you don't go there and you just keep struggling along, eventually you'll figure it out. And I'm not saying don't do diet culture, don't do diets, like, don't do it. But even today, having tried once again, I've tried so many times, but I know I'm getting closer. And there's something about small wins that make something else more doable. And I know it's so corny, but it rings true for me, and I know it's the truth, is that confidence gives you confidence to do more things. And where all of my confidence has always come from is in my competency, because I know what I'm capable of, and I learned it through the school of hard knocks, and I learned it the hard way. I was in some pretty rough situations, but I've always known that I can take care of myself. I can do anything I put my mind to. I can do it. Like, as long as it takes me, I don't care. I'm gonna achieve it. Like, it always, that's just how I am. And when you achieve small things, it just stacks them. And one more thing, and I truly, truly believe this, and I don't want this to be too long, but my videos do tend to be a little longer, is that I do not believe that you can do anything unless first you are entirely convinced that it's doable. And that's why social media is such a great thing to me, because at one point, you guys, first of all, I saw people losing weight, and I really believed it was possible. And I tried and tried and tried and failed. But I still believed that it was possible. If you don't actually believe it, it is not going to happen. You have to truly believe it. And you cannot talk yourself into believing something. You can't say, like, yeah, I don't actually believe it, but I'm going to keep saying it to myself. You have to really believe it. And the best way to do that is find someone who looks like you, who sounds like you, who you see yourself in, and you see them do it. And that, my friend, is the way to know it's possible. When I first, number one, at one point before surgery, I didn't know it was financially possible for me. I didn't know how much this stuff costs. I didn't know it was even an option. And a lot of times, if we think things aren't an option, we'll say things to ourselves like, yeah, I would never do that. I would never do that. No, it's not for me. When really it's because we don't even believe or haven't even explored it as an option. And when you see someone else doing it and you start like a mustard seed, dude, like just the tiniest little, like, I wonder if I could actually afford weight loss surgery. Like, let me look into it. Let me see how much it is, because that's an obstacle. The price is an obstacle. And once you realize that there's so many different avenues to doing it, there's financing, there's, I don't care if you have to do car washes, whatever, you can make it happen. And the second thing is that there's a lot of fear over, can I do this? Can I actually endure the pain of the surgery? Do I want to risk my life? Like, I already have, maybe you have kids and you don't want to, is this doable? When you see other people do it and it succeed and transform, then you're like, wow, this is actually in reality, in actual real reality, a possibility for me. I have to believe it to achieve it. And this also translates into my fertility journey. Like, I just turned 40, and for a long time, because I wasn't married, I wasn't really trying to have kids, I just kind of said to myself, like, I don't really care if I have kids. And that's just that thing. I would never get weight loss surgery. It's because you don't even know if it's a possibility for you, and you're just in such protection mode. You don't want to harm yourself. Like, we are our best protectors. And a lot of that language and self-talk is just us protecting ourselves from fear, the reality, the painful reality. And the thing is that I have every reason to I have every excuse. Like, I have every reason, every right to sit here and say, I'll never get pregnant. But I'm letting you know right now, like on video, like I truly, truly, like, as insane as I am, like, this may sound totally insane. I'm 40 years old. I know I'm gonna get pregnant this year. Like, I just know it. And maybe it won't be this year, but I know I will. Like, I feel it. Like, I just know it. Like, mark my words. Like, bitch, like, watch out. Like, I just know it. Like, I've never felt it so strongly. Like, even last year I had doubts, and we started this whole adoption process, and we're still in the process, but I don't know what it is. Like, I just feel it. Like, I just feel it in my bones. And the strength and the confidence comes from seeing other people who like tried to get pregnant for like 15 years and then fell pregnant when they were 40 and then again where they were 42 totally naturally. And do your research, never give up hope, look around. You will find people whose stories will motivate you. Now, I'm not a magic person. I don't have any special, like, like there's a very good chance that I might not, but I'll be okay if I'm not. I always will be, and I will be 1,000% okay. But I just really honestly believe it. Like, I just believe it, and it feels so close to me, and I feel so close, like insane. Like, I just feel it. So yeah, this is where I am, and I do believe that I had to force myself. I have to trick my animal brain into working out. And if you cannot afford a trainer, find someone who not just holds you accountable, but forces your ass. Make such a strong commitment that you can't break it. And if that technique doesn't work, then find something even stronger to hold you accountable. Sometimes accountability partners doesn't really do the job, but holding yourself to an extreme, like, even if you pay someone or make a deal with someone, like if you don't go work out on this day at this time, you will owe them $50, something really like that. And once you actually start going because you're obligated, because you're basically forced, then like if you and your friend put like $25 each into a pot and whoever doesn't go to the workout gets it, maybe it should be more than that. Like if $25 is like, I can live with the $25, set yourself up so you have to go. Like that is truly the trick, because I'm literally having to trick myself. But the more times I go, because I've gone for about a month, I can feel myself adopting this and liking it and enjoying it. And I can feel it building, and I can feel myself wanting to quit coffee because I know it's the right thing to do. Well, I quit sugar in my coffee, but quitting caffeine for fertility purposes and for this conception plan, quitting smoking is a necessity. These things are not easy to do. They're big lifestyle changes, but working out is giving me like succeeding at it is giving me the confidence to slowly stack better things on top of it. I can easily backslide. I don't want to like sound like I have it all figured out, because I know it's a slippery slope, but I can feel it, and it's very exciting, and I'm learning to trust my body. Now, this video is so long, but one thing one of you or some of you might be thinking is, do I wish I had started working out like this before? Maybe, kind of, sort of, but I wasn't ready. Like, Dr. Vong talks about this, and I like some of his stuff and I hate some of his stuff. And that's the whole thing. But I take everything he says with a grain of salt. A lot of it is not true for me. Like, it just is not reality. My biggest pet peeve is that he literally does not know at all what it's like to be in an obese person's body. And he has zero ability to imagine it or perceive it. Like, zero. Like, he did a live with a woman who specialized in eating disorders, and it was way over his head. Like, that's not his specialty. He's a surgeon and he's a doctor. Take some of the stuff he says, take what you can use, and leave what you cannot. Some of his stuff is just wrong. But he talks about getting your shit together with your nutrition way before you're working out. Now, I'm not getting on the scale. I haven't been on the scale for like a month, because I already know that building muscle is going to make the scale go over the place. I could very well have like a slight gain this week, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to know it. I just want to trust this process and know that I'm eating correctly. I'm working out. I'm doing all the things, and I just know that if I trust the process, I can't fail. And I very well may come out of this 6 months from now weighing 5-10 pounds more, because muscle weighs more than fat, and I was getting a little baggy. I don't know what the word is, but I definitely like am, I don't know, like I just, you can see on my stories on Instagram, like I'm just like basic motions with like 5 pound weights. Like I'm not that strong. Like I'm not that strong. I was actually stronger and more like, you know, like I could push people around if I wanted to. Like I could use my weight. Like I'm not as strong as I used to be. So I'm continuing this journey, continuing eating healthy, working on my metabolism through working out and like building up the strength. And it's an exciting chapter. Like I'm really excited. Basically this is kind of like part 2 of 3, maybe. I think part 1 is like initial weight loss for like a year and some change. This whole thing is going to be about working out, getting pregnant, and then eventually down the road, I would like to get skin removal surgery. And my ultimate goal is to be, every year I get older, I want to be the healthiest I've ever been. Like that is my goal. Like I want to be healthier today than I was ever. And do I feel like I might be? Maybe, I don't know. But I just want to be like, my goal is to be at my absolute peak at like 50, you know, like 10 years from now when I hit 50, I want to look the best. Like I just want to look and feel my best. And I just feel like I just want to absorb every ounce of life and everything life can offer and live the longest, healthiest life. And everything is just kind of feels like it's coming like full circle. Like I just feel it. Like I just want just this very healthy, nourished, like I feel like I'm just shedding like this excess exterior that was never actually, I don't know what to say, it was never actually me. Like I loved fat me, like I loved the shit out of fat me, like, but this is not about transforming into something different. This is about shedding stuff that wasn't me and becoming the real version of me. That's what I feel like. So anyways, I've been talking. Ask me questions. I hope I made sense. I'm gonna really post this. So I love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to y'all later. All my love, all best luck with everything in life. I hope you fucking win at everything, and I mean that.